Hi, my name's Andrew Woodward. I'm founder and CEO of 21 Apps. We're a small SharePoint consultancy inspiring people to change the way they work. My webcast today, I'm going to talk to you about what I see as the missing link in all or most SharePoint projects. But if I start with the way lots of organizations approach SharePoint, and I've heard mentioned a few times, not regularly, but the idea that if we build it, they will come. So we'll build SharePoint. We do a technology project. We do a lot of work in the background. So Microsoft are very good at covering backup and restore and architecture, etc. And TechNet and MSDN and how you develop stuff is all on there. But effectively, you stick SharePoint up, you put the website up, and then you go collaborate. And unfortunately, it's more complicated than that. Just making a nice environment for somebody in order to do collaboration with social features, etc., isn't good enough. And I think there's a missing link. And I'm going to do a quick analogy. A person that we've talked to quite a lot on Twitter, and he did a post recently which completely struck with me this idea of build it and they will come that we adopt, we see in SharePoint projects. He actually works for a large mining firm, but he actually works in the development of office space. So his role is really to try and build a nice environment for people to work. They've got a desire to culturally change the way people work. They want much more collaboration, so they build social areas. They've got coffee shops that they put into their designs, hot desk areas so people can come in and out, much more open space, table football, etc. So they put a lot of work and a lot of effort into designing, in effect, building the environment, building the place that people will collaborate. They've found from experiences that while they're there, everything's good and people are hot desking and people are using the whiteboards and they're up and they're having coffees, etc. But as soon as they leave, there's a sense of right, just goes back to normal. It goes back to the way it used to be. People bring their photos in and their flower pots and they stick it on their desk. So what used to be a hot desk then becomes Dave's desk. It becomes that person's desk, which is something that they were trying to get over. They wanted a much more open space. People no longer go and sit in the coffee shop and drink coffee. They go to the coffee shop, buy the coffee, and go and sit back at their desk on their own. And the ideas and the design of the environment that they did to encourage collaboration just gets lost. And it's very similar to SharePoint. You build SharePoint, it's got lots of collaboration features, the social features, the My Site, the tagging. It's got all the rich capabilities. But if you just put it there, people will sort of go and use it, but they'll sort of revert back to the way they used to work. They might just stick folders in a document library, for example. They're not really getting the benefit and the value that you, as someone who's trying to evangelize SharePoint, sees. And I see this as a missing link. And in the post, they go on to talk about. Again, they had a bit of an aha moment, but there's the concept of a tumblr. Now, tumblr is a Yiddish word, and it comes from the person that would go to a bar mitzvah, and they're the people that really stir up the party and get people up and dancing. So they stir things up, they change the way people are at the party, they get people on the dance floor and get them dancing, and they're there throughout the evening, right? So they're there all the way through until the end of the party. So they're really there in order to make the change, to get people dancing and get people doing it differently. And what they found is that, in effect, with Office space, and the same with SharePoint, is in order to get that change and that cultural change, you need that role of the tumblr. You need the person or the people in there to get involved and to stir things up. And what I find works really well is you need to produce what we call a SharePoint Center of Excellence, a team of people that are there. Their job is to help cultural changes, to help people change the way they work. They're the evangelists, and they infuse. And they're in the organization, they're given the time to go and talk to people and help change and help communicate, and they basically go in and do it themselves, and they'll help you and support you. And without that concept, that tumblr, that SharePoint Center of Excellence, you'll find it really hard to adopt SharePoint, to get the real value from the platform, to get the cultural change that you need to move that through. What I also find, and again, we're doing this webcast, Harmony are gratefully sponsoring this webcast. What I do find is that part of that cultural change is if you're moving people across, transition is always difficult. Moving from where I used to be to where I want to be in the future is always hard. A tool like Harmony that sits inside Outlook, for example, helps people interact with SharePoint without necessarily going the whole way. So they'll start small. We always encourage start small, do something simple, demonstrate some real value, and then try the next thing. Don't try and boil the ocean. And with Harmony, they can use Outlook, and if they receive an email, for example, they can drag and drop that email inside Outlook and into a folder which looks like a folder to them, but actually they put that in SharePoint, and they get prompted for metadata, etc. And likewise, when they send an email, tradition is that I attach my file, click send. Harmony can set up a dialog box, allow you to pick it and drop it across. And I think that there's some simple features in there. It's not huge product from that respect, but it helps you with that initial transition. It just helps people get used to SharePoint initially, get some information in there, start putting their documents in there, and then when they do go and look at it and they do a search, they'll find things and they'll start seeing the value from it. So without the big cultural shift that they need to do, the big transitional change, they then get to see the value, which then encourages them to do more. And I think Harmony really helps with that transition approach. So I hope you liked the webcast. If you want to read more about this terminal idea, go to my blog, www.21apps.com/blog. There's a post on there which will give you more details about what I'm talking about, and hopefully today's inspired you a little bit to change the way you work. Thank you.